Welcome back, everyone. Today, I really wanted to talk to you, Eiji, about these English proficiency tests.
Mhm.
And we'll get right to it. I know you've taken and you've heard of a couple. Um, I, as an English teacher, have also tried to prepare my students for things like the TOEIC and the IELTS test.
Mhm.
But in Japan, they have the Aiken, right? I used to
Yeah.
prepare students for middle school students for this, but
Mhm.
do you think that they prepare you for the modern world? Did it prepare you for speaking English outside?
I think it's just for getting a better job in Japan.
Oh. Oh, tell me about that, yeah.
So many companies just evaluate their test score because there's no way to evaluate them in another way. So yeah, test score is a pretty fair and easy to evaluate. So
Mhm.
unfortunately,
Oh, interesting. So,
yeah.
speaking English is valued, as far as, getting a better job? You'll be paid more.
Yeah, I think so, especially nowadays. Yeah, the importance is getting, yeah, bigger.
Now, if I remember correctly, you took one of them. Did you feel after
Mhm.
you took the test, the score you received was accurate?
I don't think so. Long time ago, I took TOEFL test to enter
Mhm.
a community college, and I think I did well because I took the course of TOEFL in the English school. So I, yeah, prepared for that test, and I studied every day. It's like a very standard way of studying, like reading a textbook and then listen to the lecture. Yeah, sitting in the chair and desk.
A classroom setting, I imagine.
Yeah,
Um,
classroom setting. Yeah.
Now, have you taken it ever since the last time?
No, it was yeah, last time. Yeah, more than 20 years ago.
Wow,
Yeah.
your English has gotten to this level, because you've done other things, right? Not just take preparation courses for.
Yeah, but at that time I didn't read books,
Mhm,
just the textbooks. Yeah. I just took the class and that's it. And then
mhm.
daily life. But I was in the US at the time, California. So yeah, it was much better than other English learners in Japan because I have to survive. So I had to use English, the real English,
Yep.
every day. Yeah, that helps a lot.
Uh, Now, real English, did they teach you this in the TOEFL course? Did they teach you how to survive?
No, it's just only class. So I took the TOEFL class. So it's specified in the TOEFL test.
Yeah.
But of course, I had like a life there. So
Mhm,
I had to go to grocery stores, gas station, yeah,
mhm.
or just mingle with friends. So,
Oh,
so
interesting.
that taught me the real English. And yeah,
Yeah. I think immersion is incredibly important, for English learning,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I think
More than
yeah,
maybe than just taking a test. Immersion is so
yeah,
important.
yeah.
Now,
Yes, I used a different mindset because taking a test is a very how can I say formative, but real English. I feel like living in like English environment, not
mhm.
using English or not study English, just immersed in English ocean.
Now you do that now because you read a lot of books, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, do you have any interest in taking another test in the future?
No, I'm not interested in taking any kind of test. I
Mm,
just want to enjoy English, or I just want to enjoy contents in English. And also, I don't have that motivation to improve my English skills. Like, it's just secondary.
mm.
So my focus is now knowing or exploring new ideas or realigning myself by reading. Yeah, that's my main purpose.
Now, what kind of books do you like to read? Just out of curiosity. What aligns with your motivations?
Yeah, I like to read self-help books, also novels. Yeah. So self-help books, very good to know the exact idea. But actually, I prefer novels, even for realigning myself.
Mhm.
I always find like the exact answer what I'm looking for when I read novels,
Now,
because I think I immerse myself in that word.
when it comes to translating between Japanese and
Mm.
English, does Japanese
Hmm.
keep the same meaning of the book intact, or does
No,
it take it away a little bit?
no, we actually can't interpret the English books into Japanese like a translation.
Okay.
There are two different perspectives, different route. I think language is like water, like ocean. So
Hmm.
English is a big ocean. Every word, every phrase is just waves. So
Hmm.
you can't grab the waves, right? Yeah. You or you can't pick up a wave. It's not a solid object. But when you immerse in that English ocean, you always perceive that waves. Oh, that shape, that shape. So it's a single word or single phrase, but you can't pick up, pick it up. So Japanese has own Japanese ocean in the waves, so they can trade from that
Yes,
ocean to another ocean. You know what I mean?
I do, because I found myself
Yeah,
frustrated sometimes that in
yeah,
English I can express myself. Maybe for an
mm,
emotion, I have 3 or 4 different words,
mm,
and it's very precise what I feel. But when I started
hmm,
learning
yeah,
Japanese, I started learning my selection is different. It's a different types of
hmm,
phrases I can say, different types of words.
mm,
Sometimes it's the same word, but in English it would be, I
yeah,
would say it different ways. So I had to make peace um with that, unfortunately, which is
mm,
frustrating because I'm a very detailed and
yeah,
specific person. So sometimes I can't say exactly what I want to say the way I want to say it in
mm,
Japanese.
yeah. Because I think we interpret the idea from the context, right?
Yeah.
Not the every single line, but many English learners try to translate every line precisely into
Mhm.
Japanese. That's why they can't interpret the idea correctly. So it's just my opinion. I just understand the idea from the bigger frame, like context or chapter, or even the whole book. So I don't care about the details. The, so this line, what it means. This line, what it means. So
Mhm.
I don't care, but I care the whole concept. Yeah.
Right, because that doesn't change.
But yeah, many of them are doing the opposite. Mm,
Mhm. Yes, I've been guilty of that myself, but it's a
mm.
learning. You learn, right? You learn slowly,
Yeah,
uh, because I
yeah.
believe that the meaning stays the same whether you understand
Hmm.
uh, every little thing or if you only understand the meaning, right? If you understand the meaning, that
Yeah,
means you're good.
yeah. And I think comprehension is beyond the language.
Mhm,
You know what I
mhm,
mean? For example, you read the book
mhm.
in English, but your idea is not related to that language, right? It's just filtered, just image or feelings. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Yeah. So
I
language is
yes.
just the gateway. Yeah. And then you filter the idea um, through the language. And then pure idea in your head is no longer language anymore.
Wow. I think language tends to be and is the most important thing, like you said, to filter ourselves and
Yeah, yeah,
experience
yeah.
our
So
reality.
that's why I like the idea of English is just a tool.
English
Yeah,
is a
I wanna get the idea through the language. That's why I don't care about the detail. But many of them care about the detail, but they don't care about the whole concept. Okay, I remember the line and I just translate the line, and then eventually they don't get the core concept of the book, what they get
yeah,
from the book.
yeah, that's exactly right. I think
Yeah.
we may have talked about this
Uh,
before. If you focus too much on the small corrections, understanding every little thing,
mm,
you don't look at the
yeah.
whole picture that's over here. So it's I think it's
Yeah.
a common issue, but it's easily
And
fixable,
yeah, and
you
it
know.
also, if you read that book that way, you stop each line or each word. You can't help looking up the meaning if you don't understand the word. So
Well,
it's so distracting to understand the idea.
think like you said, language and English as a tool is the biggest insight people can have when it comes to language learning. Uh,
Yeah.
and I know this won't be the last time we talk about English, but um, for our listeners who
Hmm.
want one takeaway from this video today is try to see it as a tool and take it easy, you know, have fun and try not to get too lost in the
Hmm.
small the small words. It comes eventually, right? Well, thank you so much, everybody, and thank you, Eiji, for having me on here today. So we'll talk next time.
Thank you. Yeah. See you next time.